I now give the floor to His Excellency Youssef Sherfa, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development of Algeria.
Mr. President, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, I would like to convey to His Excellency, the President of Guyana, Mr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, the greetings of his brother, the President of Algeria, Mr. Abdul Majid Tebboune. I would like to express to him our thanks and appreciation for the invitation to convene this thematic important meeting which discusses this complex interlinked relation between climate security, food security and conflicts. I would also like to thank the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, for his comprehensive briefing. I also commend the valuable contributions of Mr. Simon Still, the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and Ms. Beth Pickdall, the Deputy Director General of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, and Ms. Jimena Livia Roich. I thank them all for enriching our discussion. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, no doubt climate change is a threat multiplier. It multiplies the threats facing our states in varying degrees. Rising temperatures, changing weather patterns, sea level rise are all factors that disrupt agricultural production, drive people to forcibly move, and heighten competition over vital resources like water and lands, thus fueling conflict and instability, in particular in vulnerable and conflict-affected areas. Which has a negative impact on the stability and security of countries of the South and deepens growth disparities. In this vein, our countries seek to find practical solutions that enable them to provide food and address climate change, to meet its needs in relation to sustainable development, and to prevent our communities from spiraling into crises. Accordingly, Algeria has spared no effort to provide all conditions necessary to ensure the development and sustainability of national food systems and agriculture sector. This is achieved by developing strategic sectors, integrating renewable energy in rural production, and develop genetic resources, as well as developing climate change and adaptive resilient crops. Algeria is also building the Green Belt, knowing its positive impact on fighting desertification, land degradation, and reducing dust and sandstorms. It also helps and contributes to reducing CO2 emissions and adapting with climate change. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, the role of this Council is worth commending, as it has the maintenance of international peace and security as its primary responsibility. By convening such important thematic debates, the Council raises public awareness and sounds the alarm in relation to some of the problems that threaten international security and stability, like this interconnection between climate change, food security, and conflicts. As contribution from my country to enrich this important discussion, Algeria would like to propose the following streams of action. First, conflict prevention and resolution mechanisms are necessary. Taking proactive measures for conflict prevention and addressing the root causes is crucial to reduce the risks and promote stability on the long run. Second, building resilient communities. We do need to invest in building the resilience of societies and ecological systems in the face of the impacts of climate change. This is to be achieved by supporting sustainable agricultural practices and promote the preservation of water as well as the sound management of natural resources. Third, addressing the root causes of food insecurity by diagnosing and identifying the weaknesses and imbalances in the production system, supply chain, and addressing those causes collectively, particularly by developing comprehensive economic development, reducing poverty, inequality, and promoting good governance. The access of agricultural products from the south to international markets should be promoted and the trade barriers should be lifted. Fourth, enhanced international cooperation by building multilateral partnerships to share knowledge and resources and support international organizations like the FAO. The IFAD and the World Food Programme. Cooperation should also be enhanced in the adaptation strategies to climate change. Fifth, mechanisms should be found to help developing countries, in particular, to receive the sufficient and adequate financial support. Six, promote innovation, scientific research, and development in agriculture in relation to early warning and climate. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Algeria strongly believes that the best solution to address climate change and food insecurity and instability throughout the world is closely linked to us upholding international law and its provisions without discrimination or double standards. A case in point is the tragic situation in which the people of Gaza are living. For more than 5 months, they have been subjected to intensive shelling and bombing and destruction of all vital facilities by the occupying power. The result is the falling of more than 28,000 martyrs and doubles of these wounded and displaced. This bombardment and shelling left nothing alive. It caused a suffocating food crisis, deteriorating environment situation in the region. This is just a proof of the disregard by the occupying power of the most basic moral principles, its total disregard of international humanitarian frameworks and binding international rules. Notwithstanding the gravity of this horrendous situation, the international community stands as a bystander in the face of these flagrant violations. Instead of putting an end to this Zionist aggression and its ensuing serious harms on humans, nature, and environment alike, one of the most important UN relief agency is subject to a systematic defamation campaign, the objective of which is to undermine its credibility, drying up sources of its funding, the funding that is addressed to respond to the basic needs of the people. In this connection, Algeria calls on the international community, in particular this Council, in light of its broad powers conferred upon it by the Charter of the United Nations in relation to international peace and security, to shoulder its responsibility to put an immediate end to the suffering of the Palestinian people and to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza and ensure the immediate, continuous, adequate delivery of aid to the people affected. In conclusion, I would like to recall once again that the climate change, food insecurity, and conflict-related challenges require firm commitment and concerted action from all countries. On our part, being a responsible member in the international community, Algeria is all ready to contribute to collective efforts to protect peace, security, and prosperity for all. Thank you for your attentive listening.
Excellency, Mr. Sheriffa, for his statement.